Now, if you pay attention to rap music and the rap community, you might notice that it tends to get held under scrutiny quite a lot. Some of these reasons range from a lot of things, like people not liking certain rappers, a lot of disagreements, and the rap community acting like frantic little babies. And one that eventually gets brought up is sampling. Now, for those of you who don't know the whole issue behind sampling, or if you don't know what sampling is, basically sampling is when you take someone else's music, whether it's a beat, maybe it's a vocal, maybe it's something from a radio, but you use it and insert it in your song. Now, maybe you might use it for the entire song, maybe you'll use it for maybe 5 or 10 seconds, it doesn't matter. If you use 5 seconds, whether you use it for the entire song, nonetheless you're sampling. People's issues with it are that it's cheap, that it steals the other person's source material and ruins it and turns it into garbage, and that it requires no effort, and that it's lazy. Now, there was a time when Nicki Minaj took Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back and put her own interpretation on it and made it different. Now, a lot of people had an issue with it and said, well, you ruined Sir Mix-a-Lot's thing. Because even if the person gives permission for them to do it, people still have an issue with it and say that they're ruining the source material. YouTube's favourite punching bag would have to be Kanye West, because Kanye West has done it quite a lot. It goes without saying that if you listen to a Kanye West song, he is sampled at least once in the song. One primary example is when he did it to Daft Punk in his song Stronger. People didn't like it because they thought that he took Daft Punk's version and completely fucking ruined it. His version was cringy. His was too much in the rap genre. His was just awful. Another infamous example is Bound 2. That used sampling. So while hating sampling may be the hip and trendy thing to do, is it necessarily a bad thing to do? I don't think so. I think sampling is actually a good way to show our creative pursuits. And I think a lot of people really have an issue with it is when they think that they're overusing it. The thing is, this isn't a recent thing. This isn't something that came out of the woodworks. It's been happening for ages. Hip-hop actually developed a style over sampling. Hip-hop/rap was the first genre to really polarize and mainstream sampling. You may think Kanye West overuses it, but a lot of people used it as much as he did back when it became popular. A lot of people did rely on sampling and did find it to be a nice way to actually do things. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think people's issues with sampling is the artist that samples, and I don't think that's a valid point. I don't think you can go against a type of way to make your art just because a shitty musician, in your opinion, did the art mediocre. Making a song that's horrendously sampled could be problematic, but not sampling itself. Sampling is a tool for people to be creative and find new ways to take a pre-existing melody and turn it into something that they feel would make it sound good. They can listen to a certain melody and maybe find that if you switch the tone around, you can make it even stronger. A lot of people who say that they hate sampling actually tend to like hip-hop musicians that do sample. These same people that trash Kanye West praise and adore Eminem for sampling, and they don't even realize it. Eminem has made a career changing people's pre-existing melodies and pre-existing words and turning them into a different type of tone. Eminem did this in his song Stan. Diddo's original work, Thank You, had an entirely different premise. However, Eminem listened to it and saw that it could be turned around into a different meaning. He could change it into a whole and different type of context. Her talking about all of this stuff could be shifted into a much darker story. If you hate songs like Stronger and Power based on sampling, then how come you don't have an issue with My Name Is, Stan, Rock Bottom, Berserk, and so on? All of those songs use sampling. In fact, the Marshall Mathers LP 2, what many people consider to be Eminem's comeback, which is so great and good, half of the album used sampling. More than half of the album used sampling, in fact. You can't look me dead in the eyes and say that you like Eminem, but you dislike sampling. He's been doing it since he started. He's been doing it since Infinite Days, for fuck's sakes. If your defense for liking Eminem but trashing Kanye is that Eminem did it good, then there you go. There's no reason to hate sampling as a whole. As you said, Eminem did it good. So, if you think artists can do it good, then what's stopping them from doing it good? When they do a mediocre song, don't let it taint sampling and don't let it taint a whole type of way to make art. Hopefully you consider music to be art, because it is art. These genres and these types of styles of making stuff is an art form and an art platform. It's okay if you don't like a certain genre, but to shun it off and make it so that other people can't enjoy it and appreciate it and claim that it's a bad thing is pretty ignorant. Your issue lies with the artistic outcome, not the medium in which they use. Of course, sampling can kill the original mood of the song. Sometimes when they redo it, it can be really shit and really hard to listen to. But on the other hand, it can actually do a song justice. Allowing people to sample can make a song which you might not have liked before, you might not have thought was good, or maybe you did think was good, and they managed to make it so much better than you could have imagined. That's a beautiful concept. You know, when you think about it, sampling is very similar to covers, especially in this regard. A cover can do justice to the original song. A cover can make the original version of the song so much better, so much more sweet. Someone could cover a song which was mass disliked and mass hated and turn it into a melodic masterpiece. But on the other hand, it could be vice versa. Sometimes a beautiful song that was so wonderfully orchestrated could be tainted and horrified into this fucking abomination because people were able to take it and abuse it. In art, you should be willing to take the risk. You should be willing to take the bargain that sometimes people are just gonna fuck it up. They're not gonna understand the medium, and that's okay. You don't take something away, and you don't shun and blacklist something just because someone fucked it up. Especially something like sampling. If you like the hip-hop genre, and if you like rap, then you shouldn't hate sampling. Also, just to clarify, because a lot of people tend to say that sampling is very cheap to do, isn't that hard, there's a difference between sampling and talking over a pre-existing beat. Sampling can and does take effort, however some people can make it really cheap, but those people stand out like fucking eyesores and you should call them out. It is quite a difficult thing to do if you're good at what you're doing. It can be a tricky thing to do and a tricky thing to master, taking someone else's work and finding a creative way to make it better. That's fucking difficult if you actually want to make something good as opposed to mediocre. Now, on the other hand, it is easy to just listen to someone else's beat, ask for their permission, and then turn it into a song where you're just rapping over it. That's obvious, and that should be called out. No argument there. Sampling opens so much creative doors. Why close them just because you don't fucking like Kanye West, or Nicki Minaj, or the other popular people that made bad sampled songs in your eyes?